So I wanted to take a minute to talk about what I've done to this maul and what inspired me to do it. I worked for a contractor who, and a couple years ago, we ended up hurting somebody because we had a hammer break off at the head. It's a 12-pound sledgehammer, and it was 30 feet in the air. And there was a guy working underneath it, and it nailed him in the shoulder blade and shattered his shoulder blade. You know, after that we got together and tried to figure out, you know, how do we make this not happen again, and we ended up taking all the wood-handled hammers off the job. And you know, we thought we solved the problem, and we really didn't solve the problem, because the same things can happen to fiberglass handles. And then if you go to the other extreme, you'll actually end up hurting people from the vibrations of the hammer itself getting to their arms and hurting them that way. And which is what we wound up doing, because we switched to these hammers that were supposed to be unbreakable, and they had these steel rods inside the handles that, you know, it pretty much made them unbreakable, but it transferred so much vibration to your hands that it made it rather painful to use. I guess that's what you'll encounter if you wind up welding a piece of pipe to a hammerhead to serve as a handle, as that you really can't swing it all day because it'll mess up your hands. You know, that really bothered me, is that there has to be some way where we can make a hammer that's more robust, isn't going to transfer all that vibration to your hands and then hurt you that way. I dwelled on that a lot, and this is what I came up with, and this was a couple years ago. So, and I'm just now getting around to doing this. And what I've done is I've taken a pretty heavy schedule pipe. It was about 3-inch diameter, and I smashed it down to where it would go over the handle. And I epoxied the handle on first with this slid up onto the handle, and then once it was epoxied, welded this piece of pipe onto the head. And then once it was welded and it cooled down, I put fiberglass resin into the inside of the pipe. And what this does is it does two things. You create a barrier here to where you have something that's very robust, and it's not going to, you know, if you use it wrong and you wind up hitting something here, it can take a lot more of a beating than if it was just the handle. I mean, in a normal hammer or maul or whatever, you have about 3 inches of contact between the handle and the head. But by doing this, you really triple the amount of contact area you have between the handle and the head. And I guess the third thing it does is it takes the axis that the handle wants to pivot on, which would normally be right here. You would have the most force if you have this wedged into a block of wood and you're trying to turn it sideways, or, you know, get it out. You take that and then you move it up where you have a lot less leverage working against it. I think I'm going to play around with this idea and maybe promote it a little, and maybe this is a good option to stop people from getting hurt by falling hammerheads. And I guess a lot of people would say that if you're busting heads off, then you're not using the hammer right, and you're not. But the fact is that people don't use it right, and people do stupid things and use hammers that they shouldn't. And it's a fact of life. But if you can make a hammer that can take that abuse, then you can stop people from getting hurt.